If you want to build a multiple 8-figure sales team, then you're going to want to pay attention to this video. I'm going to review to you the inner workings of how we've built multiple 8-figure sales teams. And this is exactly how we've done them. So I call this the C4 explosive sales formula. Now C4, because it's like a bomb, it's an explosion, right? But it's also 4 very important C's that you can implement today for your team. And it's explosive because you can find rapid growth and scaling when you apply these principles. So the first C is contrarian compensation. Look, a lot of sales directors, a lot of companies, they have very, very poor and honestly very boring sales compensation plans. They do things like, oh, here's 10% commission for everybody. Oh, here's your $1,000 bonus at the end of the month, right? Those things are way too plain, way too flat, and they don't contribute to the culture and the excitement for being in an awesome company where it's exciting. I'm gonna give you 3 things you can implement today to increase and have contrarian compensation. So contrarian basically means not the norm, out of the ordinary. So instead of doing a flat 10% commission for your closers, why not do a sliding scale? Maybe 10% up to 15%. So what you could do is for anyone that closes less than 10 deals a month, they get 10% commission. Maybe between 10 to 15 deals, they get 12% commission. And maybe 15 deals and up, they get 15% commission. Can you see how that incentivizes your team to actually go for higher targets? Because they make more money and your company makes more revenue as well. The second way is by doing weekly bonuses. Oh, and I love this. Imagine if you came to your team and said, look, we're gonna give $100 or a $50 Uber Eats gift card to whoever books the most qualified appointments by the end of this week. By Friday, 5 p.m., if you book the most qualified appointment, you're gonna get a gift card. That's an awesome way to keep morale high and keep things exciting every single week. My third favorite option is to actually reward high performers with a base, or also known as a bonus, like a monthly bonus, right? Look, it's tough enough being a commission-only sales professional. You're always having to hunt, having to kill, right? With no consistent income, you're really there to just perform, and which is fine, don't get me wrong. I love performance-only positions, but as a sales director, as a company owner, you actually save on margins, profits, revenue when you start paying out base salaries after a certain point. If you bonus your reps, let's say with $3,000, $4,000 a month, you could lower the commission percentage, right? While they still feel a bit more secure and still having to hunt and still close for commission. Now you get the best of both worlds. Now you get what we call a pay mix, which is now a healthy mix of base salary and commission. So that's the first point, contrarian compensation. The second C is the captivating recruitment flywheel. This is amazing because what happens when you don't recruit, you get what we call fat cat closers. You get people that don't have any sense of urgency. Why? Because their job's not on the line. You get people that don't take your organization as seriously as they should. And you get poor performers who just aren't hardworking professionals because they know that you're like everybody else, you don't really recruit, there's no fire that's lit under their butt, right? And they know they can get away with doing things. Why? Because you're afraid to fire them. Or you have your top performers who handcuff you and ask you to do things for them or have you do things that you normally wouldn't, but because you can't afford to lose them, you give in to every demand. Sounds familiar? Trust me, I've experienced it too. That's why I know. So we're always having to constantly recruit. We've seen this time and time again with all of our clients, right? The ones that generate multiple 8 figures a year. Whenever they bring in a new sales professional, guess what happens to the existing team? You're right, their performance increases. Why? Well, because now they're more afraid of this new person coming in, that this person might take their position because this person is hungrier. This person is more passionate. It's more desperate. And now it lights a fire under their bums so everyone gets off and starts doing more. And now you also remove your handcuffs, right? Because now you're a top sales professional. If they threaten you or if they say, oh, you better pay me this, if not I'm gonna quit, or your competitor's poaching me, well look, you've got a new pipeline of top candidates coming in that you don't have to worry about losing your people. And that's why the captivating recruitment flywheel is one of the most important pieces in this equation. Now, third piece, Compounding culture. Do you know what all horrible, inconsistent sales teams have in common? You guessed it right. Poor culture. An environment where people don't even want to be there longer than a few days or even a week, right? Because what they feel when they get into an organization like that is that they're just a pawn. They're just a mercenary just to be used. And after they're used, they're discarded. And I've been a sales professional, so I also know how that feels like, being in companies, being in offers where I wasn't really appreciated. So one of the best ways to combat that is by increasing culture. So I'm gonna give you 3 things you can implement today to improve culture within your sales team right now. The first and the most important thing is having daily team huddles. Look, if you're not meeting your sales team every single day, then I don't know what you're doing, okay? Your sales team is not just there to produce revenue, because they're gonna stop producing revenue the moment culture goes down the drain. Your job as a sales director, as an entrepreneur, as the leader, is to make sure the culture and the morale of your team is high. If you're not meeting your team every single day, how do you know what they're struggling with? How do you know when they can't close that deal? How do you know when they can't handle those objections? How do you know when they need something from you, when they want maybe a promotion, they want a raise, they want to communicate things, if you're not willing to meet them? So the most important thing is to get that huddle, and in the huddle, you talk about 3 very simple things. Number 1, you get everybody to share a win. It could be a personal win, it could be a professional win. Number 2, you go over goals for that day. What metrics are you trying to hit? How many calls, right? How many SMSs, how many emails, how many book calls, how many sales calls closed, what conversion rates you want to hit, what show-up rates you want to hit, right? And you hold people accountable to these metrics. And then you end with very quick role plays. You end with objection handling type work. How do you handle these most common objections, right? What are the FAQs that your company, that people in your company have to know? So that's the first thing you can do to build culture. The second thing is by having weekly competitions. Kind of like the contrarian compensation with the bonuses, you actually have bonuses as a way to increase culture, because now people are looking forward to every single week where they get a chance to win something, to make you proud, right? To make your organization proud. They want to do their best. And by giving weekly competitions, what we used to do in our company was we had a virtual spin the wheel game. We will all come on Zoom, because we are a virtual team, sit on Zoom, log on, and then the manager would spin the wheel. And it was like a raffle, right? Whoever closed deals that week, they all had a ticket. So if you closed 5 deals, you had like 5 spins. If you closed like 3 deals, you had 3 spins, right? So she would spin the wheel and we would get like gifts, you know, a $10 gift card, right? $25 from PayPal, $50 Uber Eats gift card. The grand prize might be like a great headset that you can do calls with very well. And that was huge for culture. The last thing you can do to improve culture is to work on your leadership skills. Go take leadership training. Literally, go invest in leadership certification. Become a better leader, because when you're a better leader, you automatically raise the tide. I'll give you one quote. When I went to ROTC, which is the Reserve Officer Training Corps with the US military in university, I had this primary military instructor, like the senior instructor, and he was a lieutenant colonel in 05, which is a pretty high-ranking office in the military. One thing he said to me that I'm going to share with you today that changed the way I lead people is a very simple quote. He said, whenever your team does well, whenever your platoon, your mission completes, right, successful, you win, right? You get great results. You always want to give credit to your team. Never take credit for yourself as the leader. And whenever your team makes mistakes, when they fail, when someone does something terrible, as the leader, even if you didn't do it, you're gonna put your hand up and say, it's my fault. I take ownership of that. So all mistakes go to you, all credit goes to your team. I guarantee you, if you adopt this mentality, you adopt this approach, you're going to be an awesome leader and you're gonna increase culture dramatically. So the last C is probably my favorite C, consistent coaching. Because this is what I do for my sales teams, for our sales agency that we own, that we run sales teams for, and also for my clients' sales teams. Yes, we train your sales reps. We train your people so they become better. They become clinical sharks. They become savages that close more deals and have higher show-up rates, right? And we guarantee all that. So you need consistent coaching. Think of it this way. If you are a professional MLB team, a baseball team, and you want to win championships, right? You can't expect your batter and your pitcher, right, to have not pitched the ball or took a swing for the past week. How would you go to the grand championships and not pitch or bat for the past week, right? But then we expect our sales reps to get on sales calls and just wing it and just do their thing without coaching. That's like going to a baseball game and just trying to hit the ball without any practice. Sounds pretty crazy, right? So a lot of, like a deadly sin is that entrepreneurs, leaders, sales directors, they don't train their sales teams enough. And so what happens is your A player will soon become a B player, your B players will become C players, and your C players eventually drop out. And that's such an unfortunate but common thing that happens these days. So train your team, get them on sales training. There's a lot of free stuff on YouTube, right? I love Alex Hormozi stuff. I love Josh Braun stuff. And I also love Benjamin Dennehy stuff, who's really good at cold calling. Train your team on sales training. And you can also reach out to us. We train your team for you. We guarantee that. We're gonna make sure we implement these 4 C's in your business to get you the results you want, right? You can reach out to me, just DM me on Instagram or email joel@joelyee.com and we'll get in touch with you. I'll also have that in the description below. But long story short, when you implement the C4 explosive sales framework, you cannot not get an 8-figure sales team. This has worked for tens of clients already. We're rolling this out to multiple 6- and 7-figure coaches, and they're gonna crush and transform the world with very, very inspirational, but also very, very ethical and very, very consistent sales professionals. Make sure you subscribe to my videos. Put in the comments, right, what questions you have about sales and sales management. This is one of my first longer videos, and I would love to hear your comments and feedback. Please share how I can add value to what you do. All right, see you later.